Before there were humans, there was an ocean. An ocean so deep and vast, filled with creatures of all sorts. A magical paradise. However, shortly after human discovery, these creatures were taken out of the ocean and into tanks and pools, made to do tricks and forced into an environment where they were unable to thrive.
This documentary will talk about captivity, focusing on orcas, stingrays, and dolphins. It will talk about how these animals are being treated in captivity and how they are affected by being in captivity. Also, what we can do to help them. This is a pressing issue still being faced today, so please watch more to educate yourself on this topic.
What many people fail to see is the effects that being in captivity has on these creatures, starting with orcas. Started was that in the 1960s, orcas were hunted for aquariums. The methods used were often harmful to the orcas and resulted in their deaths. The orcas that survived were oftentimes harmed in the process and had scars. The practice ceased and is now outlawed. Now most orcas are bred in captivity. In 2024, there were around 55 orcas in captivity worldwide. 33 of them were bred in captivity. For reference, the estimated population of orcas is 50,000, meaning that 0.11% of all orcas are estimated to be in captivity.
After the historic events since our woods and legally blonde too, many people think that animal cruelty has been banned. There are only two issues with that assumption. Number one, no one thinks that. Number two, that's just a movie. Many people might argue that the percentage of orcas in captivity is extremely low, therefore it's not too big of a deal. But the truth is, the impact that captivity has on these orcas is truly unforgivable. Signs of stress are almost too easy to spot on an orca. For one can take a look at their dorsal fin. An orca's dorsal fin is a large triangular fin on the back of an orca. It is known to provide stabilization, helping the orca move through the water. Temperature regulation, because the thin skin over the fin's dense tissue helps to release extra body heat. Arteries around the fin are surrounded by veins to help cool the blood. It helps with identification as each dorsal fin is unique to each orca's and it has individual nicks and scars based off of the shape of the fin. The sex and age of an orca can also
Be identified.
Orca's dorsal fin will often collapse. This is due to a lack of water pressure, because when orcas are in the water pressure is oftentimes what will help to keep their fin in the upright position. It's also due to limited space for movement. When in a tank, the orca's dorsal fin will collapse because of the unbalanced pressure on their fin. This is caused by moving in repetitive circles in their tank as compared to their usual rounded movements in their natural environment. The final and most important factor of an orca's dorsal fin collapse in captivity is stress. When in captivity, the orcas face boredom from being in the tank, learned helplessness from not catching their own food, and artificial social groups, which leads to them becoming more and more stressed. Orcas are some of the most intelligent mammals and are oftentimes considered more intelligent than humans. They have larger brains and their encephalalization quotient is around 2.57, which means that orcas have more brain tissues able to serve complex cognitive functions such as self-awareness, social cognition, culture, and language. When in captivity, not only do orcas not have enough room to move around freely, but they are also deprived of things like environmental enrichment, social stability, and the opportunity to perform natural behaviors that may include swimming long distances, diving, and foraging. This deprivation causes them to display indicators of stress which can include aggression, self-injury, and increased mortality.
Captivity has led these orcas to attack their trainers. Due to captivity, many orcas begin to suffer from mental illnesses that make them more and more aggressive, and they tend to act out of desperation. According to Blackfish, a 2013 US documentary that is well known for its investigation into orcas in captivity, tanks make orcas more aggressive towards humans and towards other orcas. There are no recorded wild orcas attacks that have resulted in fatalities. On another hand, there are 4 recorded attacks by captive orcas where people have unfortunately lost their lives.
The next example of animals in captivity is stingrays. The main way that stingrays are in captivity is these things called touch tanks. In Stingray Touch Tanks: A Bad Idea by Zuchek, Zuchek describes stingray touch tanks as a horrible place for rays. Stingray touch tanks are often harmful for not only the stingray but also the people touching it.
Stingrays are often caught by one of 2 methods. The first method is regular casting from shore, where stingrays are often caught by accident. The second way that stingrays are oftentimes caught is as bycatch. In some areas of the Indo-Pacific, large-scale fishing for rays and sharks occurs. Many people refer to stingrays as flattened sharks. They are commonly non-aggressive, and they have a long whip-like tail with a sharp caudal barb on the end of their tail to defend themselves from predators. Oftentimes, these barbs can transmit a venom from the mucus coating on the barb, which is severely harmful for humans. When stingrays are startled, they have a tendency to react by swinging their tails upwards, causing the barb to pierce the skin and inject venom. On top of that, rays are fish, meaning they have a slime coating on their bodies. This slime protects them from bacteria, and if it gets removed, it can expose the ray to infections. Oftentimes, when stingrays are in touch tanks, children will touch the rays and the mucus coating will be affected, leading to the stingray getting an infection.
They are also oftentimes psychologically impacted by captivity. They show stereotypic behaviors that indicate that they are stressed, which include things like swimming in circles inside their small enclosure, or abnormal actions with their SBB, which stands for surface breaking behaviors, which is a stereotypical behavior in stingrays and sharks where they raise their head above.
The third and final animal that will be discussed today are dolphins. Dolphins are one of the most popular animals when it comes to seeing marine animals in captivity. There are more than 3,000 dolphins in captivity, and to put that number into perspective, there are only an estimated 6 million dolphins on the planet, meaning that 0.05% of all dolphins on the planet are in captivity. This number may seem small, but in actuality, it's a very large number. Dolphins are often caught in the wild using methods called drive hunts, where the fishermen bang on pipes suspended in the water to disorient the dolphins, and the dolphins are then driven to shore where they are then trapped. Another method is seine nets, which are large nets that are positioned in the water columns and drive dolphins into it using high-speed boats. After being captured, the dolphins are separated and the ones deemed suitable for display are selected. The remaining dolphins are often slaughtered for meat. In captivity, dolphins face some harsh conditions, including confinement in tanks that are often 200,000 times smaller than their natural range. This confinement in such a small space can often lead to stress, boredom, and unnatural behaviors like circling and tooth grinding. Captivity can also affect the brain of the dolphin. There are some physical and structural changes, such as the cerebral cortex thinning, which can lead to poor decision making and memory issues, dendritic pruning, which can make the synaptic connections less efficient and less effective, and stress can lead to less efficient information due to the changes in the structural neural pathways. It can have effects on the cognitive functions and emotional effects. It can impair cognitive functions, which oftentimes is caused by changes in the brain structure. Memory and emotion disruption may also be an effect because of the trauma from captivity. And finally, behavioral changes, because chronic stress can lead to self damaging behaviors as well as emotional unpredictability. Being in captivity also affects how the dolphins act towards humans. Due to things like stress and trauma, confinement, altered social roles, and lack of mental stimulation, the dolphins have a tendency to display aggressive behavior towards humans. There have been many cases of male dolphins exhibiting aggressive sexual behaviors towards humans, physically attacking humans, and some dolphins have been known to aggressively chase dolphins or other humans out of the water due to jealousy, which is a result of the social disruption they face in captivity. Aquariums are places that often foster community events and help people expand their social horizons while still learning and being educated about marine animals. Aquariums have been found to not only be educational and have developmental benefits, but also mental and physical benefits, as it helps reduce stress and anxiety. It has been found to improve moods, allow for better sleep, and shift focus away from negative thoughts, helping a person concentrate better. However, the dark side of aquariums are often forgotten. Critics and animal welfare organizations like Born Free and PETA have found that there is significant suffering of marine animals in captivity. This is due to them having inadequate space for movement, and the tanks that they are confined to are a minuscule fraction of their natural range in the ocean. A dolphin tank can be up to 200,000 times smaller than its wild habitat, which leads to the previously mentioned effects. There are unnatural social groups which force these animals into incompatible social groups or lead them to aggression and lifelong trauma. Oftentimes, the parks will force animals to perform unnatural tricks for food rewards and sometimes will intentionally starve animals to increase motivation, which can lead to aggressive behavior and stress. The stress that is being caused can lead to physical and mental issues like ulcers, infections, and neurotic behaviors. It can sometimes even lead to the animals being driven to attacking humans out of desperation. And finally, the aquarium's methods to capture these animals are cruel and often result in casualty of animals. These captures also disrupt the natural ecosystem. These aquariums affect the environment as well as having ethical issues. These methods used to harvest a fish will often damage the habitat of the animal, and one of the most common practices is something known as cyanide fishing, which is when collectors spray sodium cyanide on the fish to stun them, making the process of catching them easier. This damages the reef ecosystem, kills coral, and kills other marine life. These aquariums are taking fish out of their natural habitats and also disrupting the ecosystem, as there's a delicate balance of the reef ecosystem, and the removal of these fish can harm the overall reef health. Although many institutions claim to support conservation, these efforts are often misleading and the help is limited. There is a great deal of revenue that these aquariums are generating, and these can overshadow their conservation efforts, as many aquariums only donate a small percentage of their revenue to conservation efforts. Another implication of aquariums is that they create a public misconception that animals are content in captivity, downplaying the urgency for real habitat protection. Another issue is the ineffective breeding programs, which are often to replenish the aquarium's animal stock. There, however, are ethical aquariums. These aquariums are often characterized as being focused on conservation and rehabilitation, putting more focus on releasing the animals after they have been rehabilitated. The aquariums instill a message of sustainability and conservation in marine life and will oftentimes have humane certifications, such as those from American Humane in America. These aquariums will often avoid taking exotic animals out of their natural habitats, so they will often have more local species in their aquarium. In the end, thank you for watching. Please be sure to look at the sources linked below.